Thank my lucky stars to be living here today. 'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
You're listening to Wild About Liberty on KXEX 1550, where we discuss the importance of our liberty and how to preserve it. Now, here's your host, Terry Wild.
Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. You know, we have a good show today. We're going to be talking to one of the dynamic leaders in our state that want to make some changes. Denice Gary-Pandol is running for U.S. Senate. And so we're glad to have you on the program, Denice.
Terry, it's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to talk to the voters of California.
We also have Patty Cassio, who is so dear to us at Liberty Coalition. She's involved. She's helping make a lot of things happen, and she's like co-host for the show today, and probably before too long, she'll be hosting herself. So this is your first time at bat?
Yes.
How's it feel with the earphones and the microphone? You're good?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's looking good, Terry.
Thank you.
She's looking good on there. She's ready to go.
You know, we've been here now for 4 years. We've been trying to make a difference. And so this year, how do you feel about things? Where do you see us, Patty, in terms of locally, Fresno County?
I think
Are we making progress?
I think we're making progress and building and inspiring people to stand up for their values and for liberty.
How do you feel about your involvement? You've been doing a lot. Tell us just a little bit about what you're doing.
I've been blessed helping coordinate the speakers for Liberty Lunch on a weekly basis and meeting so many wonderful people and speakers and building relationships and it's been great, you know, helping build Liberty Lunch on a weekly basis and engaging with the community and sharing information to you know, provide that information and resources to the community.
Well, we are trying to be a hub, and we're trying to coordinate what we can do with the school situation, the school boards, the county supervisors, and on and on. But, you know, you've developed a relationship with Denice, and
Yes.
you guys are working together. Why don't you introduce her for the show and then ask her first question?
All right, I can let you know that Denice Gary-Pandol is the most qualified U.S. Senate candidate running for office to replace Dianne Feinstein's seat. Yeah, and she, you know, is the only Republican candidate who's worked with top secret clearances for our nation's security and gained statewide support since her campaign started early, beginning July 2021. And I'm proud to have met Denice Gary-Pandol and built a relationship with her and support her fully. And I'm hoping that everyone will listen to you and hear your solutions for our issues that we're facing today. And I think you're the most qualified candidate there is.
Thank you, Patty. It's just an honor to be here with you and with Terry today. Patty and Terry do such a tremendous job. And again, it's just an honor to be with you both today. And thank you for your service to the people of the state of California.
Thank you.
What prompted you to step into a race for Senate? What were your reasons for doing that?
Well, I started praying about it when I looked at the fact that we're having food shortages in our state and in our nation. And, you know, if you don't have enough food to eat, you're likely to have a revolution at some point, right? Right. So we're in the midst of having Democrats literally turn off the water to farmers. So I started hearing reports in 2020 about farmers plowing under their crops. I was hearing reports about ranchers in some states slaughtering their livestock.
Wow.
People here in our own state selling it. people not able to afford water to grow food and to feed dairy cows. And ladies and gentlemen, we're the number one dairy capital in the United States of America. We provide over 2/3 of all the fruit and nuts and over a third to half of all the vegetables that are eaten, not only in this great big golden state, but in the nation and around the globe. We've got to have water, Terry, and I'm the only candidate, and it's shocking to me. It's shocking that I'm the only candidate on the Republican side or on the Democrat side that's talking about we need to make water infrastructure mandatory in the state of California, or our farmers and ranchers are going to go out of business. It's just so darn expensive.
We've been fighting for water for the farmers for years.
It was my first position paper that I wrote 2 years ago, and I really prayed about it. I'm one woman, but I felt God was saying, go educate. It's been a blessing to me to even educate the people of California on how important. A lot of people in our state don't know that we feed this country and we feed the world. People don't know that.
Right.
People don't know we're the number one dairy. We're providing milk for children here in our Golden State and around the country and around the world. People don't know that. Look at who we are, what a blessing we are to the world and to our country. And we want to maintain that. And we need to lower the price of food. You hear people say, gosh, I've got to put gas in my car and I've got to buy enough food for my children. And the price of food is so costly.
Huge.
And we need to lower the price of food. And to do that, we've got to make it more affordable to grow it. And that means water infrastructure.
Yeah.
And sometimes a farmer will say, well, it'll take 10 years to build another dam. There's more than dams we can build. We can build rainwater capture systems on farms and ranchers and vineyards.
Yeah.
We can have fog capture systems that pull the moisture right out of the air and provide pure, clean drinking water. We can get some off-stream reservoirs going. Not everything takes a decade to build. There's stuff that we need to get done immediately, and that's going to help end inflation. That and of course, protecting and expanding the fossil fuel industry.
Well, I can give you a number here. This morning, my wife sent me to the store, had to pick up some paper plates and some cherry tomatoes. I'm in the checkout line, and I saw Krispy Kreme donuts. Now, these are half dozen Krispy Kreme donuts. I thought, ooh. I would reach to pick one up. I flipped it over. I wanted to see the price. $11.95.
Ouch.
$11.95 for 6 Krispy Kreme donuts.
Did you put it back down?
I threw it back down.
Yeah. I think about doing little things extra to kind of like give
It's
me a
crazy.
little reward for a speaking engagement. I think, oh, Denise, go ahead, get this little thing, reward yourself. You're out there working night and day. And I look at the price and I think, but I've got to fill up my tank up to get back home or to get way up north to Placer County or way down south, to Riverside County. And I'm thinking, no, go ahead and just set that food back down. You can go without.
Prices on everything has gone up.
Yeah, they certainly have. We've got to end inflation. How do we end inflation, Terry?
Get you elected.
We've got to protect and expand the fossil fuel industry, ladies and gentlemen. And the moment you get a U.S. Senator in front of the nation talking about that to the news people, to their constituents, to this state, okay, let's get this mic closer.
Okay.
As soon as we start talking about protecting and expanding the fossil fuel industry, you're going to see the price begin to drop.
Mm-hmm.
And so for farmers to get that food to the grocery store, to get it to Vaughn's, to get it to Albertsons, it's going to be less expensive for them to get it there. It's going to be less expensive for them to grow it. Their tractors they're not running on air.
That's right.
Well, on your flyer, you have America First.
Yes, sir.
And
I'm an America First candidate.
Well, that has been redefined for people to be a negative, sort of a a statement that might seem like it puts other people down. We're America, you're inferior. But it doesn't mean that at all.
No.
We will help more people when Donald Trump was president.
We help the world.
And we put our house in order, and America became first.
That's right.
First of all, we were proud of America again.
Yes.
And we were happy that we were being productive. We lowered a lot of the regulations that got in the way and shouldn't have been there in the first place. So America First is a positive statement. It's a good statement, and people should embrace that statement. How do you see America First? What are your priorities?
Putting the people of California and the United States first, and the way we can do that, which will be a blessing to the world, by the way. It's not a put down to the rest of the world. It's taking care of family first. I bet Patty takes care of her family first. I bet you take care of your family first. It's about putting your household first. And all I'm saying is, let's make food production less expensive so we have plenty of food. We can be a blessing to the American people first, but then we can also export that and sell that around the globe to people that need food. We can give it away as for, some people, we help people that are starving to death. It's a beautiful thing. We're one of the most generous nations on the planet. The most generous. The most. Israel's very generous too. I don't want to neglect Israel. But we're very generous people because we have Judeo-Christian values. We really embrace that as a nation, as a people. And so we're giving. We're giving to others. And it is so important for us, for our own families, and for the poor, the working poor, too, of California. There's so much poverty in California. And, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Give people a helping hand up. One of the ways you can do that is lower the price of food. And the way you do that is have plenty of water infrastructure, and you protect and expand our fossil fuels so it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to get that food trucked from the farm to the store.
I've talked to farmers, and I don't know the issue personally, but they say solving the water problem is basically simple. It is not complicated.
Thank you.
And
it's the political will, Terry. It's about the political will of people in Washington. So I was talking to a farmer, and he said he went to his congressional representative sitting over there in the House of Representatives today, and he said his congressional representative told him when he went to talk to him about his needs face to face, that congressional representative said to him, "Water's not my problem. Water's not my issue." Well, hello, Washington. Hello, House of Representatives. Hello, U.S. Senators. Excuse me, but, the American people have to eat, and the military has to eat. So when you have China and other foreign adversaries buying up farmland, growing that and harvesting that food, and sending it back to their country so that they can hoard food, so that their military personnel will have more than enough food, when we're closing down and shutting down our farms, and farmers are selling their family farms because they can't afford to farm anymore. Excuse me? That needs to be your issue.
Definitely.
That should be your issue.
Definitely.
Because of food shortages, not just in America, but around the globe. That's a big deal. And, it's not been a sexy issue for people to talk about. I'm going to make it a sexy issue. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, water is very important,
Yes.
especially for the Central Valley.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
And our farmers.
Look at all the jobs it provides as well.
Yes.
I mean, it's food, it's jobs, and
everything that, when everyone's job who depends on ag
jobs.
depends on water.
Right. Ranchers, we need to grow the economy and the prosperity of the state of California, help lift people out of poverty, make sure everybody in this state is working, has a good job. Let's help people. Let's make lives better in California.
Can you address border security and national security?
All right, I will. I'd love to remind the audience today that it's not just about drug cartels killing off the American people with fentanyl and other opioid drugs. It's not just about that. It's about Islamic terror cells working hand in glove with Mexican drug cartels that have built those tunnels into California, that have built tunnels into the United States of America, and are feeding a weapon supply chain into our country that are selling children throughout America and establishing this nefarious criminal networks in cities in every state in the United States. And I'd like to remind the people that are listening today that it was the Republican Party that was born in 1854 on an anti-slavery platform because of the 1854 Kansas-Nebraska Act that said for every free state that came into the Union, a slave state got to come in. And there were 10,000 Americans that said, no more. We're not doing it anymore. And they created a new political party. What party was that? That was the Republican Party. And as I said in the luncheon here today, it took a lot of guts for Republicans to run on an anti-slavery party platform. And we had a man by the name of Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president, the 16th president of the United States, and he was murdered for his anti-slavery position in 1865, but he got the war won. We won the Civil War. The North won. Slavery was ended. The Emancipation Proclamation was published in 1863. The 13th Amendment, which ended slavery, the 14th Amendment that provided equality under the law for people of color, the 15th Amendment, which provided the right to vote. These were Republican issues. Those were Republican amendments, if we could say that. They were amendments to our Constitution, but they were driven by Republican leadership. And as your United States Senator, I want to end the slave trade in America. Republicans did it in the 1800s. We've got to do it again, Republicans. We've got to make it an issue. We've got to make the buying and selling of human beings in America not just a felony crime. It needs to be punishable by death, because you can't take a 12-year-old girl and sell her all day long, all week, all month. She's not going to survive the constant rape and abuse and neglect and hunger. It needs to be a death penalty sentence, a penalty for people that are involved in the slave trade in America. That's why they need to elect Republicans going forward in 2020. That's why people need to come out and vote in the primary. The ballots are going to drop in February. They need to vote Republican up and down the ticket, because we want to end slavery. We want to end this chemical, biological warfare coming from China. You know, China provides the biological weapon that I'm going to call fentanyl and these opioid drugs. China provides it, and those Mexican drug cartels will press those tablets, press those pills, and get them sold across America. And they're doing them in colors, rainbow colors, to get the little children to buy into it. These are nefarious organizations that are killing the American people. It's a war. It's a war by communist China. It's a war by the Mexican drug cartels that are now controlling what we believe to be 40% of Mexico. I mean, Mexico is becoming a failed nation state on America's border because we believe about 40% of it is now controlled. By the way, I used to have top secret clearances. I have a little bit of understanding what I'm talking about. When you think about the propaganda, the billions of dollars that are being spent by 3 countries right now in America, China's number one, Qatar, an Islamic state that's allowing Islamic terrorists called Hamas, the leadership of Hamas, is living in luxury hotels in Doha, Qatar. I mean, these people are making over billions of dollars. And under the Democrats, think of it, people. If you're a Democrat or an independent, think about what's happening. Your party under the Democrat leadership, you're funding these Palestinian groups called Hamas that are living in luxury. The leadership is living in luxury hotels in Doha, Qatar, while people in the Gaza Strip are not. They're being, because they've supported terrorism, they've supported their leadership, they elected those people. They support terrorism. Those wives and mothers built those Molotov cocktails right in their kitchen. They're taught from cradle to grave to kill Christians and Jews. I mean, think about what the Democrats have done in terms of endangering America. We've got to take a stand on that, and that's why we need people to get past, the problem that you have with Republicans, you Democrats and independents. Think about the country. Think about making the streets of California safe. China, Qatar, and Russia are spending billions of dollars on propaganda to divide us along party lines, to promote transgenderism, to get your children to want to commit mutilation on their bodies and destroy their bodies and identify sexually with something that they weren't born with. They want to get them to look at the color of their skin and make everything about racial politics in America. This is undermining our security. It's undermining our harmony and the joy and peace, the pulling together of society to make California great again, to make America great again.
Well, can we also address all these illegal aliens that are coming across the border and they're being processed? And there are states that are allowing them to become voters in our elections without being citizens.
That's a crime, Patty. It's a crime. And it begins with the Department of Homeland Security and our chief law enforcement officer. Article 2, Section 3 of the United States Constitution makes it clear that the president is the chief law enforcement officer. But he's committing a federal crime every minute of every day that he allows people to come into our country without being fully vetted. Without being fully vetted means they don't have documentation that says it's okay to come in. Don't you want to know who's walking into your home? Don't you want to know who's going to be sleeping in your neighborhood, in your house, in your spare bedroom? I do. We need to know who these people are and why they're coming here. And that's why we vet people. That's why we have a legal system in place. It's not like we don't want immigrants. I'm sure everyone in this room has people that their parents or grandparents or great-grandparents. My great-grandparents came from Estonia and Latvia. They came from Germany, Italy.
Legally.
Okay. Where'd your people come from, Terry?
It would be Ireland.
There you go. We all come from other places, but, our people, I think all my people came here legally. I believe that's the case.
And then it wasn't so difficult. I mean, it was...
Well, no, there was law enforcement at those ships in New York and in San Francisco. Yeah. My great-grandmother from Latvia spoke 7 languages, and she would be there to greet the ships, to help law enforcement, to help the medical team as people came into our country at the turn of the last century, and help translate, because again, she spoke 7 languages. We all were America's a melting pot. We all came from different countries, but we came here to embrace an idea, America's exceptionalism.
Well, talking about that, you mentioned the appeal that we have is really a family-based appeal. We reach people that care about.
That's what
families.
The Republicans care about is families.
Well, the history of the black
safety.
Experience under slavery, but California now is largely Hispanic, and the vote is largely Hispanic, and so we share those family values
right
together.
Exactly. The Hispanic people don't. The message we need to get out to our Hispanic community is we love you. I mean, the Republican Party doesn't want to keep you down and on welfare like the Democrats. I want to, as your United States Senator, to really encourage and work towards creating more vocational and technical programs here in our state.
Nice.
Because we absolutely want everybody to have a job. And, I want to remind people under President Trump that more Hispanic men and women were employed and had good jobs.
The highest rate ever.
The highest rate ever. Thank you, Terry. It was. That's who we are. We want everybody to float to the top. We want economic growth and prosperity for every family. White, brown, black, yellow. It doesn't matter. I used to sing a song. Patty, Terry, we used to sing a song in Sunday school called Jesus Loves the Little Children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. That's what song we used to sing. We had a little missionary fund.
Yeah. And we went to other countries.
Yes, we did. We still do. So what are we talking about?
We love immigrants, and we are a melting pot. And I just hate the fact that the Democrats and the radical left define us as haters.
But that's not who we are.
It isn't who we are.
We love people more than the Democrats, because the Democrats are always talking hate, right?
Yeah.
And we need to let the black, white, and brown and yellow community know that we love you. We embrace freedom of speech, the opportunity to have school choice. We want every child in California and across the country to be able to go to the best school and not be tied to a certain zip code because of the neighborhood that you're living in. We want your tax dollars to help you get your children the best education that they can possibly have. And if that's not one of the most important things that we can do for America, for California, is to help the next generation of Americans, of Californians, and leaders to get them the best education. This is not what the Democrats want. Think about that. Think about, they'll keep your children in a failing public school. All I'm saying is, let's keep the public schools going. That's okay, but let's create competition. You union members, I'm not working to destroy public schools in California or the nation, but I'm saying let's have a little competition so we have the best teachers, whether it's in a private or public school or special needs school or a homeschooling situation. Homeschool co-ops are great. Let's just get the best people in there to teach our children so everybody has a good education, and America's number one.
And we're not practicing socialism and communism and Marxism. We're fighting that battle, aren't we? You're fighting that battle.
I am, sir.
What system works best? What is the best way to live our life? And tell me another country that has done a better job than America.
America, except when the Democrats get in charge, right?
Oh, boy.
America supports small business, at least the Republicans do. We have a lot of people in the Hispanic community and the Black community.
And the Hmong community.
The Hmong community.
We're so proud of that.
Yep. A lot of entrepreneurs in America, a lot of entrepreneurs in California. But you know what? We need to have people in the United States Senate and in the House of Representatives that are going to cut your taxes. We need to cut taxes to small business. We need to deregulate small businesses. We need to end all these regulations that are causing you to fill out a mountain of paperwork and making it impossible for you to have a small business. We've got to get behind the small businesses of California. We need to make California a business-friendly state. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's vote for Denice Gary-Pandol for U.S. Senate.
And restoring energy independence.
Yes.
In California.
And dominance.
Yes.
Patty, did you know that California used to be the number one exporter of oil and gas? We were number one. Used to be. We were number one in the nation. And you know what? You want to end inflation? Does every community in California, regardless of ethnicity or skin color, do you want to end inflation and make it more affordable to live here? We've got to protect and expand the fossil fuel industry. We have the cleanest in the world. Where are the Democrats? Where are the Democrats getting oil and gas from? Saudi
Iran.
Arabia? Nope, we're not getting it from Iran, thank God.
I'm being facetious.
But China is, and they're enriching the world's largest sponsor of terrorism.
Right.
So they're enriching that country thanks to the Democrats that loosened the sanctions, the restrictions on Iran. But getting back to my point, we're getting, because of the Democrats, we're getting the bulk of our fossil fuels, our gas that we need to operate. We're getting it from Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Now, if you're an environmentalist out there and you care about our environment like I do, and you want clean air like this Republican does, like Denice Gary-Pandol does, you want clean air and clean water, why are we in the state of California putting oil and gas in Saudi Arabia on a dirty, filthy oil tanker and having it come all the way to California? Excuse me? Talk about dirtying up the environment, Terry and Patty.
Carbon
Wow. Wow. I want to have clean oceans. So how about California, which produces, by the way, the cleanest oil and gas in the world? How about we just produce our own?
Yes.
And bring down the price so that
What a
people
concept.
can have lower prices. Why don't we get people to a point in California where it only costs them $20 to fill up their tank in their car?
That would be nice.
How about that? I love it.
Well, it takes a voter to
It does.
get the will to let's change it up. Let's change things. We need new people
Yes.
to run this country. We need fresh people to run this country. It's been run for so long by people that have spent their lifetime. I mean,
Get reelected.
Dianne Feinstein is almost in a nursing home before she was done, doing her thing. So she needs to be replaced. We need to.
And we don't want Adam Schiff to do it. Adam Schiff's been living in Maryland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Hello.
Yes. His
Why would we-
mortgage documentation indicated that Maryland is his primary residence.
Right. I mean, if you're a Democrat or an independent, why would you elect Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, or Barbara Lee, or the Republicans that I'm running against, when none of them are talking about how to make California affordable again, that are talking about how to create a lot of jobs in California again?
Bring back American manufacturing industry.
That's right. We've got to cut taxes. We've got to cut regulations and cut taxes because we should have a lot of manufacturing right here in the Golden State. We've got so much going for us. We've got minerals. We've got that Salton Sea down there. We could drain that way down south in Southern California. We could mine for lithium ore and build our own batteries right here in California. Price of batteries would go what? Down.
Yes.
Because we're building it here in California. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is mining in Arkansas. Other states that have governors that are Republican are mining because they know that we're not going to be able to depend on China.
And we shouldn't.
And we shouldn't. That's right, Patty. Or Taiwan or India. Let's be independent. That way, if we are and when we are the next time, and I'll tell you, with these open borders and the invasion, you say, Denice, you're getting excited now. You're calling it an invasion. When you have 8 million people come into your country, that's an invasion. Because how many states? Does Ohio even have 8 million people? I don't think so. There's lots of states. I challenge you to check out the size of their population. Mm-hmm. I bet they don't have 8 million people living in them. But we had 8 million people come here, not knowing who they are, what they're doing here.
Well, we know for a fact that Hamas set up sleeper cells here
in California and across the country,
raising money, organizing,
yes,
getting
in the
people to believe things that just aren't true.
Right.
So they're working here in their behalf and against what we stand for
Can-
every day.
Can we just share some of the lies and just sort of like pop a hole in that propaganda that Hamas and
Sure.
So for those of you who keep hearing from, quote unquote Palestinians on our university campuses and across the country that Israel's an apartheid state, I've got news for you. So as someone who's been to the Middle East several times, okay, has had top secret clearance, the only candidate that's had top secret clearance, I've got news for you. If you're a Muslim Arab or a Christian or Jewish or whatever living in Israel, you can go to a college or university and you can come out as an attorney, as a judge, as a teacher, as a doctor, as a nurse, or you can go be a taxi cab driver. You can be whatever you want to be because Israel, like America, is a free country. So you can have at it in Israel. The only thing that Israel doesn't allow Muslim Arabs to do is join the IDF. That's the Israeli Defense Forces. That's the military. Because, they've looked at the United States and, sometimes we have people that will turn, right? So, they want to protect their military personnel. Israel is not an apartheid state. Let's talk about another lie that keeps being said in the media. And that lie is this, that Israel is an occupier, that there's occupation. In the occupation. Well, what is Israel occupying, by the way? I'd like to know. So Israel won a war of self-defense, and under international law, if you win a war of self-defense, you're not under liberty to give up any real estate, just saying. But Israel did. In 1979, when Jimmy Carter was president, a Democrat, Israel gave up the whole Sinai Peninsula, where Moses, got the 10 Commandments. Who controls the Sinai now? Everybody's going to say Egypt. No. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Muslim Brotherhood. Terror cells are controlling the Sinai Peninsula, and people are living a hell on earth there, especially women and children and animals, because there's no human rights or animal rights in the Sinai. So Democrats and people pressured Israel to give up that real estate. And then during the Bush administration, Israel, under Ariel Sharon's prime ministership, he gave up the Gaza Strip. 2005, Israel picked up and moved out the greenhouses, the synagogues, the churches, everybody, everything and everybody, even the graves they dug up. The Jews left the Gaza Strip, even though that's actually part of their biblical homeland. They all got up and left, and a few greenhouses were standing, and instead of the Muslims, Arabs, using that as a way to prosper and to help their economy, they destroyed it, started over. Not really smart, but I'm just saying, because it belonged to a Jewish family or a Jewish person, they burned it to the ground. That's called anti-Semitism. So what occupation in Gaza? So they live off international foreign aid, and they've been living off international foreign aid for years. FYI, if you want to have electricity and food, have electricity and food. It's called building an infrastructure. If Israel can do it, you can do it. It's not too tough. That's what we did in America, right?
That's what we did.
That's what people do that don't want to just terrorize and destroy other people because of their race or ethnicity or religion. They build infrastructure in a place that they consider their homeland. But it's never been their homeland because there's never been a Palestinian state.
There is no such thing as a Palestinian.
No, and there never has been.
No.
So I'd like to know what Israel is actually occupying, because Israel is not an occupying power. Just saying.
Can we talk about our military and what you would do to support our veterans? in our country.
We just love our veterans, don't we? We just love our veterans.
Then you love me.
Thank you for your service, Terry.
You're welcome.
Where did you fight?
I fought at the Munich Beer Hall in Munich, Germany. I was a beer taste tester, but actually I spent 3 years on Dachau concentration camp, which is 17 kilometers from Munich, and I was in telecommunications security, crypto, and a high security situation. It was pretty critical at that time because we were,
Cold War?
dealing
We
with
talking
the
about the
Cold
Cold War?
War.
Okay. So you were involved in intelligence.
I was.
Okay, well, that
And-
was important.
But I love the German people. We got along really well, but Dachau is an example of hate.
Yes.
Dachau is an example of the Nazi mentality that's being exhibited right now.
That is the mentality of Hamas, which
Hamas.
means the Islamic resistance movement, and they're going to continue doing this until they see every man, woman, and child that's Jewish annihilated.
Right.
They've said it.
But then
Believe
what are they
them.
going to turn to?
Yeah.
After they're done with
Christians.
the Jews, it's the Christians.
Right. We'll be next.
Yeah.
We'll be next.
Is our
Veterans.
is our
Veterans.
military prepared to
No.
to protect America from
Well, let's
an
talk about
invasion?
veterans for a moment.
Okay.
Because one of the things, that really bothers me is our veterans that are suffering, let's say from cancer, just take an example. I hear horror stories about how they can't get the kind of treatment they need in a timely manner immediately at the VA.
Oh, definitely.
We need to have private care available to every veteran like that.
Yes.
If they can't get the care they need by the VA, they should be able to walk in wherever they need to go and get the proper care they need. I want to make that a reality. Number 2, we've got to do more to help the number of suicides of our veterans. On average, I read, there's 20 veterans committing suicide. What is it, every day, every week? I think I'm not sure. But that's a horrible number, whether it's a day or on a weekly basis. 20 veterans? What are we doing to address that? Obviously not enough. What are we doing to address the fact that we have a situation here in California where the military pensions of veterans are taxed 100%, not 30%, but 100%. I don't want any military veteran, to be taxed at all on their pension. I want to get legislation passed in Washington to end the taxation of veterans' military pension. I mean, my gosh, it's a pension. Let veterans have their pension.
Definitely. They've already paid.
They've already paid a tremendous price and made tremendous sacrifices. They shouldn't have to pay another dime to the government.
Well, I have a personal testimony. When Trump reorganized the veteran system, I had a bone-on-bone left hip problem. My knees were pretty bad, and so I went in for my examination, and they said, look, you're now qualified to go get an outside doctor. And so
Well, thank you, finally.
I went in the phone book, and we called all these different people, and they said, well, there's one guy, he's a specialist, and I went to him, and he accepted me. Now, they don't get compensated that well, even from the veteran. But he fixed my hip.
Good.
I don't even know I have an artificial hip.
Good.
But that's the way we want things to work, and that's
Exactly.
what you're trying to do.
Yes.
We're down to just about a minute and a half here on the show, and I want to know, how can people respond and help you win? What can
I
people
need to
do?
blanket. Thank you, Terry, for that question.
Yeah.
I need to blanket this state with television and radio ads because we want everybody to get this message.
And it really is the effect of media, isn't it?
Right. It's media.
Yeah.
It's social media. It's radio.
Right.
It's television.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'd love to just write you a check today for $1,000 to just air this and air this and air this, right? Run ads on it, cut it up, make it ads. That's what we need. So if you're listening today, I'd like you to go to Denice, Denice, it's with a C, not an S, Denice, Gary, Gary, Pandol, Pandol.com. Yeah, can you hold that up, Patty? Thank you. DeniceGaryPandol.com. Make a contribution. Help us buy radio time. Help me give this man some money to advertise. Help me give other people money to advertise on radio, on social media, on television, so we can get this message out.
Well, thank you, Denice. Thank you for coming on
Thank
the
you.
program. Thank you for listening. And please support Denice and her effort to make America great again. To
And
make
California great again.
California
Yes,
great
and
again.
vote in the primaries. We need to get Denice on the general ballot, and in order to do that, we need you to show up at the primaries.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank you, Patty.
What a
Great
great
point.
hostess you were. Your first hosting job.
Wow,
So,
congratulations.
We'll see more of you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for
Beautiful
tuning
job.
in.
Thank you, Terry and Patty.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Appreciate
Denice,
you.
for coming.
And I'm
Thank you so much.
proud to be an American. Where at
Thank
least
you
I
for listening to
know
Wild
I'm
About
free.
Liberty with Terry Wild, only on KXCX 1550.